Coming up this hour on American Graduate Day, award-winning journalist from the Nightly Business Report, Susie Garib. From HBO's Emmy Award-winning program Girls, Allison Williams. And Platinum Record Award-winning artist, Jason Derulo.
Hey everyone, we are Echo Smith, and we're so happy to be here for American Graduate Day with VH1 Save the Music, and we're so happy to be supporting this cause because putting instruments in schools is so important to get out that creative energy that everybody needs to do before learning. And I mean, for us, music has been a part of our lives for so long, and we would take lessons at schools, and I mean, it was always a part of our life. So we understand this cause, and we're so happy to be here.
Become an American Graduate champion. We have.
You're looking at a live shot of our WNET control room. Welcome back, everyone, to American Graduate Day. I'm Susie Garib, and I'm very happy to once again be part of this very important conversation. We just heard from the siblings who are the pop music group Echo Smith and their ambassadors for VH1 Save the Music Foundation, which has been orchestrating change in school communities from coast to coast since 1997. Now, the foundation restores and sustains instrumental music instruction in schools while raising awareness about the important role of music to educate and inspire the complete student. Save the Music has provided new musical instruments to almost 2,000 schools while enhancing the lives of millions of students, parents, and educators. I'm now very pleased to welcome Lee Niemand, Supervisor of Fine Visual and Performing Arts for the New Brunswick Public Schools, as well as VH1 Save the Music Foundation Ambassador, world-class jazz violinist Regina Carter. Thank you both for visiting us today. Really, I'm glad that you're here to talk about this important subject. Regina, let me start with you. Why do you think music is so important for a school community?
It helps students to learn how to communicate, how to focus, work together as a group, and it helps us in other subjects, not just music. And it helps bring them out of their shell. So some people are very shy. I was very shy when I was in school. And music helped me to come out of that shyness and to, I love being on stage and to communicate and to work with others. And it also helps us to teach one another. So on so many facets, it's important.
Yeah, we hear that a lot about sports, but tell us a little bit more about your growth as a student with the help of music.
I loved the violin as soon as it was handed to me, and I loved being on stage. And I had a group of kids that I practiced with and that I took violin lessons with. And I loved sharing my music with audiences and with others. Mm-hmm. And so I found that it brought me out of my shyness and it helped me in all of my other subjects. And so in turn, as I've gotten older, I wanted to go back into schools and to share that gift with others. And it's so much fun to work with other music students and to watch their growth and to watch them come out of their shells as well.
Well, so it obviously worked for Regina as a kid, but tell us, Lee, a little bit about before Save the Music came to the New Brunswick school system. How has it changed the whole system once the music got into the program?
Well, I think the music has just been a part of our entire renaissance as a district. We, are coming out of one era into another, and we're doing it through our arts program. So because of Save the Music, now every child in our district has the opportunity to play a musical instrument at no cost to the family, which is really important since right now 100% of our students are eligible for Title I funding. So every child has that opportunity, and we have over 1,000 children in our program right now.
And tell me, what have you seen any direct link to having music in your life and academic improvement?
Our graduation rate right now is about 68%, and we know that our themed Institute for the Arts at the high school, our graduation rate is 98.6%. So we are definitely seeing a direct impact in what we're doing, and we're seeing increased attendance rates for children being more involved in school overall. The same students who are part of the music program are part of sports teams. They're part of theatrical events. They're in our dance program. They're the students on the debate team, National Honor Society. So
there is a real direct
absolutely.
link. Regina, I'm really fascinated that, you've taken up violin for jazz. Usually you think of violin in the classical, for classical music. I mean, what got you to think of using your violin to play jazz? I mean, was there a teacher that inspired you to do that?
In high school, one of my best friends turned me on to 3 jazz violinists, Jean-Luc Ponty, Stefan Grappelli, and Noel Pointer. And I had never heard any other music other than European classical music or the background strings on Motown records. And so I was really taken by the fact that I could improvise and have my own voice. And now, of course, you see a lot of pop groups and hip hop groups that are incorporating violin and other stringed instruments. So it's an open field, and I think it's great for younger children to see that there are many ways to express themselves on musical instruments, not in just one genre.
Well, let me say it to you this way. What if a school said, we just can't do this. We don't have the staff. We don't have the budget. How would you encourage them? What is the importance of keeping their music program or even expanding it?
Well, that's where VH1 Save the Music Foundation comes into play. They're already working with several hundred school districts. And so that's so important, because then the kids have this ability, they have the funding. They don't have to worry about that anymore. All they have to do is worry about learning their instruments and having fun and playing together. And I had that opportunity to work with one of the schools this morning, the school district, the New Brunswick District Jazz Band. And I had a blast working with them. We had one rehearsal, one run through, and we played together, and it was like we'd been playing together forever.
Well, you have so many good stories to tell, but what kind of feedback are you getting from parents and from the school community about the New Brunswick Jazz Band and the whole music program?
I think people are just really excited about the work that we're doing. We're very proud of our arts in New Brunswick as a city, and we have a lot of local theaters and other arts organizations. So, it's just really at the forefront. So everybody's talking about the arts, and we're part of that whole scene now. So it's exciting to take our children out and let them experience it firsthand.
Well, it's been very exciting to hear about all of this. And Regina, you just talked about doing that improv with the jazz band. We had hoped that you would be performing this with the jazz band live on Broadway, but the weather had another plan for us, so we couldn't do it. But we are going to show that in a few minutes, a little later in the program. Really excited to see it. But thank you both so much for coming by today and talking to us and sharing your insights on how you can save students with Save the Music. Thank you so much. And keeping the spark of music in schools is important. There are also other issues weighing on groups that float in the shadows. For many immigrant families moving from state to state in search of their next job, it's hard to feel settled anywhere. Our next champion knew from experience why children of these families can fall behind and resolve to help make a difference for them.
My name is Marta Gonzalez. I am the Executive Director of Multicultural Community Center located in Rantoul, Illinois. I was born in Bogota, Colombia, and I experienced myself how it's to live in poverty. And I saw through my whole life that education is very important. It's the main thing to be successful. Our center provides services. It's a comprehensive service for the whole family. Migrant lifestyle change. Migrants moved from one place to another state according to the agricultural needs. But nobody likes change. New teachers, new housing, it's hard. Since 2 years ago, we've been opening the center year-round, and they found here in Rantoul all the services they need, so they decided to stay.
My youngest daughter came to MCC at 6 months. I have 3 older children that also attended Head Start while we worked. Because if it wasn't for these services, a lot of parents wouldn't, including me, I wouldn't be able to go to work comfortable.
It's been great to be able to provide services even for school-age children. And this business, you have to have the love. It's not about money. It's about the love and passion that you have for serving others.
Having been surrounded by poverty where she grew up, Martha Gonzalez has shown an acute understanding of how that, along with having a secure home, can so profoundly influence a child's ability to learn. The Children's Defense has understood this since the inception of its first CDF Freedom Schools in 1995. Joining us now is station CET in Cincinnati with a local story on the Freedom Schools in Cincinnati, Ohio. Clyde Gray is standing by. Hello, Clyde, over to you.
All right, Susie, thank you so much. You know, we've just left summer behind. Classes are back in session now for families here in southwestern Ohio. But the impact of summer can linger for kids across the country. through the phenomenon of summer learning loss, or summer slide, as some call it. Well, here with me today are two guests who are fighting summer slide through their Freedom Schools programs in Dayton, Ohio. They are the Reverend Vanessa Ward from the Omega Baptist Church and Superintendent Dave Jackson, who is joining us from Northridge Local Schools. And Dave, let's start with you. So help us all get on the same page here. What exactly is summer slide?
Well, summer slide could be defined as the loss of academic skill over the summer break. When students don't practice their reading or math or other academic skills over the summer months, they begin to not only stop progressing, but actually regressing, which is why we call it the summer slide.
And so how did that show up in your school district in such a way that you decided we better do something here and let's take a look at Freedom Schools?
Well, in the Northridge Local Schools, we do a lot of progress monitoring with students, pre-test, post-test model. And what we found is at the end of one grade level, we would test kids and see one level of reading achievement or other academic achievement. And then when they returned to school in August, we would see that they had slid back 2-3 months in their skill level. So it became very worrisome as we started to have to spend 2-3 months of the new school year catching them back up to where we had them at the end of the prior school year.
Reverend Ward, to some degree the same question. What were you seeing that made you concerned enough that your church decided, I think 5 years ago, to begin the Freedom School process?
Sure. Well, we actually started seeing some differences over 10 years ago when we started a Camp Kumba, a summer program that was really about recreation and just having something to get the kids off of the streets. But once we became aware through the Learn to Earn initiative that our children needed more than just recreation, they really needed to get some type of academic instruction during the summer, we became very concerned about making sure we did more than just play. And so we found the Freedom School initiative, the Freedom School model, and we said, this is it. And we began to use it.
All right. Dave, what is it you do in your schools that makes them effective tools to combat summer slide?
Well, the Freedom School has been a new model for us for the past 2 summers. And what we've seen is, though we tried many summer programs in the past, the Freedom School is research-based. It's a 6-week program, it's a full-day program, and it's a program from the Children's Defense Fund. And what we've seen is that program has helped us to curb the summer slide and actually has kids loving to read and excited about coming to school.
Kids loving to read. How about that? So, Reverend Ward, what does a day look like in a Freedom School that makes kids excited to read?
Well, to start off at the beginning of the day, we have about 30 minutes of what we call harambe. During that time, they are singing songs that affirm their identity, their culture, their commitment to learn today. The instructors talk to them about spending the day doing positive things and reading. And then for the first 3 hours, they're in something called integrated reading curriculum, where they're reading books and they're talking about those books and they're acting out those books. After lunch, then they go into enrichment time, and you can do all kinds of things with arts and reading and swimming and art, just lots of other things. And then that's the end of the day. So each day is filled with academics, but also a wonderful opportunity for them to engage in community.
Very briefly from the both of you, what have you seen that most impressed you about Freedom Schools?
Can I say what most impresses me is that it's bringing together of generations, because the instructors are actually college students, and those students receive instruction. They go down to the Alex Haley farm, spend a week where they are learning the integrated reading curriculum, and they learn of others. They learn of the history because it's culturally based on the freedom model of the 60s. And they learn that this is important to share that and to pass back on to this community what they have gotten. An education, a college education. And these little kids look up to them because they say, you know, they're closer in age to me. It makes a difference.
Dave, I want to ask you a slightly different question. We've got just a little bit of time left. What differences have you noted? What are the most stark differences that you've noticed as a result of these schools?
Well, in terms of achievement, it's been very exciting. Instead of losing 2 to 3 months during the summer slide months, what we've seen is actually a 3 or more month gain in academic skill and reading over those months. And then the other thing is kids and parents who have been disengaged with school are now engaged and excited about coming to school and wanting to be there and wanting to read. And that makes it worthwhile in and of itself.
All right, we've been talking with the Reverend Vanessa Ward of Omega Baptist Church and also with Superintendent Dave Jackson from the Northridge Schools about Freedom Schools. Thank you both very much for speaking with us. And so now we're going to send it back to Susie Garib in New York as we continue American Graduate Day 2015. Susie?
Thank you so much, Clyde. Well, like the Freedom Schools, some 4,000 chapters of the Boys and Girls Club provide a safe haven with after-school and summer programs featuring arts, sports, science, and many other subjects for some 4 million kids today. The clubs also put a spotlight on building self-esteem and confidence, a perfect example of which is this remarkable young lady sitting here with me now. She is Sparkle Prevard, and she's here with her mentor, Michael Everett, the founder of Champions of Youth. This is a division of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now, Sparkle, I'm so excited to talk to you, but before we get started with you, I'd like to introduce you to everyone listening in to a video clip, which is quite compelling, all about you.
I am somebody. I may be young, I may be poor, but I am somebody. And I must be protected, respected, and never rejected, because I am somebody. What Jesse Jackson clearly knew was the importance of self-worth and for people to have a purpose in life. And that is precisely what the Boys and Girls Club of Atlantic City gave to me.
Sparkle, I haven't even talked really to you yet, but I am so wowed by you. I'm so impressed.
Thank you very much.
I just want you to share with us a little bit about your life growing up in Atlantic City. I know you came from a large family.
Yes.
It wasn't easy, especially after your mother died. Tell us a little bit, what was your life like before you met Michael and how you got involved in the Boys and Girls Club?
Okay. I came from a single-parent family home with 5 siblings and a single parent, and we struggled along in an impoverished community. And then at the age of 12, I lost my mother, and my grades started to go down, and I started to get very quiet and isolated from friends. And then in high school, I became a part of the Champions of Youth program. And as soon as I became a part of this atmosphere of positive role models, of having peers to connect with, of being exposed to many things and many new experiences, my grades started to turn around, and I started to have a positive outlook on life.
And your uncle had something to do with this, too.
Of course,
Didn't
yes.
he introduce you either to Michael or to the club?
Well, my uncle has, Jalil Prevard, has always tried to get us to do something in our communities, always has pushed my cousins and I to be doing something positive. And so at the age of 9, he gave me a membership, paid for a membership for me to go to the Boys and Girls Club. And the environment was so great because, you know, there's many kids there, there's positive mentors and positive role models. And from there, I became heavily involved in high school.
So
and that's what I became with Michael Everett, yes.
Michael, what was your first impression when you met Sparkle?
Well, I met Sparkle at Atlantic City High School, and my first impression was that she, as we've said for a number of years now, she owns the name Sparkle.
She sure does.
She sure does.
You're sparkling now.
But one of the things I think that makes Sparkle so special is you know, she has this irrepressible spirit, and it doesn't take long before one discovers that she has a huge heart that's very passionate about her beliefs, and it seems to resonate from within. You know, she has this most wonderful spirit, and I think that's what makes her so unique in so many ways.
Tell us a little bit about the Boys and Girls Club, because you've been an educator for something like 45 years, and then you started this program about 10 years ago, right?
10 years ago.
Right. Why did you do it, and tell us a little bit about how it's evolved?
Well, in short, I received a call from the Boys and Girls Club after I tried to retire. And my retirement lasted all but 2 days when they said they had this exciting program out of the Boys and Girls Club that was a non-traditional program, and was I interested. And of course, it had something to do with, again, working with young people, trying to change their lives in positive ways, as the Boys and Girls Club does every day throughout our country, to work with young people. And that was, and has always been, as an educator, a very special part of my life. So we took that on, and it's just wonderful to see, through the support of the community, Stockton University, the Boys and Girls Club, to see it grow.
Well, let's hear about some of the actual real-life experiences, because you had some special projects, you did some travel.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the highlights of that and what impact it had on you.
I was nominated to be Youth of the Year by my Boys and Girls Club of Atlantic City and Michael Everett to represent the youth at my club, and I went on to represent the youth in the state and then the regionals at nationals. And there I got to go to places like London and Puerto Rico and Chicago and Washington, D.C., just to share my story and to be an ambassador to the Boys and Girls Club of America.
So what was that like for you? What did that mean to you, to go to London, go to Puerto Rico, and to stand up and be a representative?
The thing about it is, when you come from a small community like I did, you don't really dream that big. Your imagination of what you can be and what you can do becomes very small too. And when you get to travel to all these places, even to go to with 5 other girls, get to go see the President of the United States in the Oval Office. Like, yes, it's really big. And I never knew my story could be so inspiring to other youth, to 4 million youth across America.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming by and telling us your story. And I hope a lot of other people are learning and will join the Boys and Girls Club. You're having a real meaningful impact.
Thank you very much. It's really
Thank you.
changed my life, and I hope everybody can find out more about the Youth of the Year program at youthoftheyear.org.
Well, that's quite an endorsement. Thank you so much, Sparkle and Michael. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Well, as most of us know, politics and politicians can be very frustrating when it comes to actually making real changes in this world. But Sparkle, you and Michael have done more than your fair share to affect meaningful change in your world, and we wish you continued success with that. Sparkle Provard is proving to be an inspiration and powerful instrument of change. Earlier in this half hour, we enjoyed a conversation with education advocate and world-class violinist Regina Carter. Our plan was to have Regina join the New Brunswick Jazz Band live on Broadway, but apparently Mother Nature had different plans. Fortunately, we were able to record Regina and the jazz band earlier today.
For more than 160 years, the YMCA has been a part of the fabric of American life. While the Y is well known to many for fitness and athletics, they are much more than swim and gym. Today we are shining a light on some of the work the Y is doing across the country in the area of education. I'm Neil Shapiro. We're joined by Kevin Washington, President and CEO of the YMCA of the USA. Kevin, welcome.
Good afternoon. How are you doing, Neil?
Good. I want to begin with your personal story because you have a very personal story about your relationship with the Y. Tell us how it began.
Well, it began, I talk about the Y finding me at the WMS Pierce School in the 4th grade in a program called the Gray Y. That acronym meant Grade School at the Y. We met in the YMCA gymnasium, in the gymnasium of Pierce Elementary School, and then we'd go to the Y 3 or 4 times a week. But a good friend who was a mentor for the rest of my life, his name was Bill Morton. He was the youth director at that time, and he really paved the path for so many young folks in South Philadelphia, and caring about ensuring that they had the opportunities to reach their full potential. The Y was a safe place, so it allowed me after school to have an opportunity to deal with get away from some of the issues that some of my other friends were engaged in. So I would say it helped me avoid some of the issues that some of my other young brothers and sisters found themselves into, gangs, drugs, and things of that nature. So the Y was that safe place for me. And my story is an emotional one about how I came through this organization, how I was able to become, I went to Temple University to a basketball scholarship because of the YMCA. I came back and started my first job at the Y, where I was as a young pope. Little did I know I'd be sitting in this seat one day, come from that little guy in the Pierce Elementary School, being a part of the YMCA for all the years that I've been a part of it. So it's been fun and exhilarating, to say the least.
Now, as we said, it's not just a place of activities. There's really an educational function that the Y performs. Tell us about that.
The Y has always been engaged in activities that are beyond fitness and gym. We're doing quite a bit of work now in what we call helping youth reach their full potential, doing summer learning loss programs to ensure that the lessons that they learn during the course of the year, they don't lose during the summer. We're doing Y Achievers programs to help kids understand that there is life beyond high school and college and things of that nature, getting them engaged in those activities earlier. But those are the kinds of things that the Y is focused on to ensure that young kids have the opportunities to reach their full potential.
Now, a lot of people are sitting and saying, I know there's a Y in my neighborhood. Give us a sense of the scope. How big is the Y and how many kids do you think you serve?
We have 880 different associations, 10,000 communities the YMCA is in, and we serve 22 million people. 9 million of those individuals are under the age of 18. So we serve 9 million kids. Arguably the largest social service organization in the country. One of the things we know about young people in their development is they need a nurturing adult in their life. You think about it. It was a coach, it could have been a minister, it could have been a teacher, but they need an adult outside of the family relationship in their life.
Now, so you have a lot of students and you probably have a lot of local school districts involved. How does that work? How do you work with them?
We work with schools quite heavily. We do after-school programs in communities, so we're using the schools for that. In fact, I was in Minneapolis this summer. The principal of the school was working with us as part of the summer learning loss program, because I know that schools cannot do the work by themselves. So organizations like the YMCA see ourselves as a partner in helping young folks reach their full potential through educational endeavors. So partnering with schools is a key initiative for us in all communities. We get them at 3, 4 years old in our preschool programs. They stay with us in our after-school programs. They're in our summer camp programs. They're engaged as a teen, they're engaged in our Y Achievers programs, which is helping them understand career aspirations and things of that nature. They're being able to understand what kinds of opportunities are available for them.
And how important is it to get them early, and how important is it to keep in touch with them all the way through the process?
It's very important. Preschool programs have demonstrated that they give folks a head start as they go into kindergarten. What we talk about is making sure our young folks are kindergarten ready when they go to school. They're ready to learn first day one. And secondly, remember we talk about a connection with an adult in this program. So they're having the opportunity to connect with a youth director in that YMCA, that local YMCA, that gives them some level of consistency as they're getting engaged in the Y Achievers programs, whether they go into summer camp. All of those connections to adults that's help them provide a nurturing, caring adult in their lives. So that's an important part of what it is that we do.
The lifeblood of your organization are volunteers. They do so much great work. What does the volunteer get out of doing it?
I know that their experience that they get out of it is a positive one that makes them want to continue to do that work. So they're having service, helping young folks develop. So it's that kind of experience that will stay with them lifelong.
So volunteers are so important. Do volunteers come back to you and say, I got to meet someone I'd mentored and now I'm so proud to see where they are today?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things we said about volunteers is why we don't let you get away. We keep you for life. But more importantly, not do we keep them, the bridge is there because they want to stay, because of the kinds of relationships they're engaging in and what they get out of it from a personal satisfaction level.
And Kevin, once again, thank you, and thank you for joining us on American Graduate Day. If you're looking to mentor or volunteer to help young kids, the Y would be a great place to start. Stay tuned, there's much more to come on American Graduate Day.
American Graduate Day is a live, nationwide outreach event.
Hi, I'm Allison Williams, and we are celebrating American Graduate Day, and I wanted to introduce you to an organization I care a lot about, which is called Horizons. Horizons is a summer program that serves 4,000 kids all over the U.S. in 45 different programs across 15 different states, and it helps make sure that summers are not wasted for these kids. They learn, they do STEM, they do English, reading, all of that good stuff, but they also get to dance and do art, and they get to learn how to swim. These kids get to go back to school in the fall, not only caught up with where their peers are, but sometimes they're 1 to 3 months ahead of their peers, which allows them to go into school with an extra spring in their step because they know that they're going to make it through the year, and then they get to go back and be with all their friends again the next summer. It gives them a lifelong appreciation for school and learning and broadening their horizons. And it also gives them an opportunity to really push themselves and stretch and dream. Maybe they're the first people in their family to go on to high school, let alone college. I've always wanted to help make sure that there are horizons everywhere in the U.S. because that is the best hope that we have as a country for success in the future. I'm very excited to watch the kids from Horizons start to take over the country because trust me, they will, and you just try to get in their way. It's not gonna happen. If you are looking to do something great for a kid, kids in general, the future of our country, then you should look to volunteer at a summer program. I highly recommend Horizons, but if there isn't one in your town or in your immediate vicinity, look for something because summers are crucial and they can make or break the kids' success. Become an American Graduate Champion. I have, and so has my family.
Stay for more American Graduation Day.
Well, just as Allison Williams can tell you about the great work being done at Horizons National, I can speak to the great work being done by our next group, the Girl Scouts of the USA. Hello again, everyone. I'm Susie Garob. As a former Brownie and a Girl Scout, yes, I know firsthand what a positive impact the Girl Scouts had on my life. Founded more than 100 years ago, they are the largest leadership organization for girls in the world. And today's Girl Scouts are nothing like when I was a kid. As a matter of fact, they've been named one of the world's top 10 innovative companies. Joining us now is the president of the National Board of the Girl Scouts, Kathy Hopenka-Hannon. And also joining us is a recipient of the prestigious Girl Scout Gold Award, Tazim Merchant. And it's really great to have both of you here with us. You know, Kathy, let me begin with you. I know the Girl Scouts have changed a lot from the days when I was a Girl Scout way back. And I think a lot of people don't realize that the Girl Scouts are now very focused on developing a whole new generation of leaders. So tell us a little bit about the new Girl Scouts and, you know, how it's evolved over all the years.
Thanks, Susie. I think, certainly, as you point out, I think Girl Scouts is probably the original girl power organization, and as you said, leading the leading organization for development of girls as leaders. I think over the 100 years, the values haven't really changed. And when you think about the complexity that's required in dealing with the issues of the future, we need to continue to evolve to be even that much more relevant from a programmatic standpoint. So we're still very focused on developing courageous girls, competent, compassionate girls. And I know Tazim is going to talk about her award that demonstrates that, but really evolving to really address those issues of the future and what we're doing in the areas of STEM. So we still do a lot.
Science, technology, engineering, and math,
exactly,
which you're doing a lot more to make girls interested in science and math.
Absolutely. And we know for a fact that girls are very interested in that. We have a group here today that's working on robotics, and it's just absolutely terrific. So really been focused on really developing the girl for the future.
So tell us some of the other things that they're learning besides like the STEM stuff.
Well, certainly our girls are very much focused on community, and really we give our girls a voice and an opportunity to address a number of issues in their communities. So they're focusing on developing solutions to problems in their local schools. A lot of the Gold Award that you'll hear about is focused just on that, but really having the opportunity to demonstrate their leadership and giving them a voice and solving problems at a very early age. And that really helps them with their curiosity and remaining very focused on continuing their education.
Well, we've been talking so much about the Gold Award. Kathy's been referring, and we see your pin that you're wearing on your dress. Tell us about what was the project that you did that you earned that award?
So the Gold Award is sort of the third award you get as a Girl Scout, and it's the final award. Essentially, my project was dealing with education, an issue I'm really, really passionate about. So essentially, it's a district-wide tutoring initiative started at Locust Valley High School. And what we do is we provide after-school review and outside-of-school review to students that's free and personalized. So just really quickly to give a background on how I got this idea, I actually was a tutor myself, and my tutoree told me one day, okay, I come to you because I don't really get personalized review as much at Extra Help. So I wanted to, since my friends charged $40, $50, to be able to find that or create that organization that would provide that free review for people.
So it was considered too expensive, so you came up with an alternative, and I understand that you turned to the tutors are kids who are National Honor Society, things like that, and it's grown quite a bit. I mean, the numbers that I looked at, you've got like 100 students now, and you've got 50 volunteers, so it's really expanded.
Yes, definitely. I think it's evolved over time. And one thing with the organization is that whenever you create something for the Gold Award, whether it's this sort of project, educational, or something else, you have to be able to understand that there are going to be obstacles and that that organization is dynamic. It's constantly changing, and you need to be able to address any issues that come up. So I tried to overcome some sort of obstacles that came in my way, and then eventually, because of our great management, we were able to reach that level.
Well, that's very impressive that you did this and so early on in your life. But besides winning this top honor, I want to list for our audience some of the other accomplishments that you've done. You've worked on a research study of heart procedures at St. Francis Hospital. You were president of the Economics Club, co-editor of the school newspaper, and also you graduated as a salutatorian of your school. So you've done a lot. You have had a very active high school years, truly incredible accomplishments. I'm sure there were a lot of reasons that you are so motivated and driven, but to what extent do Girl Scouts also drive your ideas and your ambitions?
I think Girl Scouts really helped me from the time I was a Daisy member. I've been in Girl Scouts for 13 years, and from reciting the Girl Scout promise, Girl Scout law, that sort of like instills ethics or values in you about honesty, kindness, generosity. When we're sewing Valentine's Day pillows for the elderly, very fond experience I had. Baking cookies for those at the Ronald McDonald House. All these things teach you interpersonal skills, instill a value of service. So those are sort of the things I think really Girl Scouts brought to me, and now I really want to have my life be one of service, where I'm driving positive change in the world.
So what about the other girls in your troop? Are they learning these same kind of lessons?
Yes, I think so. I think we all have a really strong community. Anytime I see them, I always want to give them a hug or something. We have a very, very strong connection. And I know that the girls who did stay in the troop all the way to the end, we've all had really great experiences, service experiences, and really, I think Girl Scouts in general does impact your character significantly.
Kathy, what's your takeaway on amazing girls like Tazim and other girls in the Girl Scouts? Do you hear a lot of these kinds of stories?
I hear these stories everywhere I go, Susie, and it really reassures me on how we need to continue to invest more in our girls, because investing in our girls is really investing in our future, and the opportunities that they are provided, the skills, the competencies, the passion, it remains with them for the rest of their lives.
And I understand there's a waiting list of 30,000 girls who are trying to get into the Girl Scouts. So that speaks to the success stories you're talking
Absolutely, absolutely. And so the more volunteers we get to help pay it forward is just going to be absolutely terrific. I mean, we know the results, right? We see 75% of our senators are female, 5 of our 6 governors are female. It's just all of our secretaries of state were Girl Scouts.
That's really good to know. As a former Girl Scout, I'm very happy to hear of these success stories. Thank you both so much for coming and talking to us, and good luck to you now as a freshman at Northwestern and your studies, your pre-med studies. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Well, don't keep 30,000 girls waiting. Connect with the Girl Scouts of the USA to see how you can make a difference, like Mike Smith, who is the subject of our next Story of Champions, brought to us by WITF York, Pennsylvania. Mike is working with the YWCA and is engaging the students through their work on a drill team, and he's getting amazing results.
Arm, 2, put your chin. Yo, ready.
I found out what my purpose was probably 15, 16 years ago. The Lord spoke to me and told me to start this Temple Guard drill team. Ever since then, I knew that this is what I was supposed to do. You can see the pride that comes off the kid. It builds confidence and self-esteem.
When Smith got the chance to run the Quantum Opportunities program out of the York YWCA, he took it. The free program offers inner-city youth the chance to go to college through participation.
I pretty much sit down with the parents when they come in and I tell them if they complete this program, I can guarantee that they will go into college. And that's just my personal commitment to being Mr. Mike, which is the meanest nice guy in the world. About faith! You that face! This is the 7th year in a row that we had 100% going to college from this program because I challenged them and they meet that challenge.
I didn't think I was gonna make it through high school at all. I didn't think I would even make it to be a junior. And now I'm on the road to success. It feels good. I'm here and I'm gonna graduate.
It's my passion. It's basically everything that I am. Once you pour into them and let them know what they're worth, they can be anything.
Throughout this program, we've seen how champions like Mike Smith find new keys to unlock so many emotional and intellectual barriers to learning. Our next feature takes us to Mount Holyoke, Massachusetts, where the key to some middle school kids faltering in English and math is turned by none other than the Bard of Avon. When it comes to improved learning skills along with overcoming shyness and some antisocial tendencies, they're discovering that the play's the thing.
It's Monday morning at summer school. It can be a tough sell for these middle school students in Holyoke, Massachusetts, with some lagging in math and others in English.
Welcome back, week 3. Welcome back.
Sean Couture, a former cop, directs the Connection summer school program for the city.
When a student is here, they're here for, as an example, credit recovery, had a tough time at school.
In addition to drilling math facts, reading recovery, and testing to get the kids to the next level by September. This summer school program offers enrichment classes 4 days a week, which has kids thinking and acting outside the box.
Your heart's desires be with you.
I'm a teaching artist and I'm working in the Connections summer program as a specialist from Enchanted Circle Theater. So we're doing an acting Shakespeare intensive.
So what about the people that don't talk much or scared to talk or maybe just a little more shy? What can we ask them to do? Step forward more? Yeah.
Enchanted Circle Theater, a Holyoke-based nonprofit, integrates the arts in the classroom.
We are in the play called As You Like It.
When we get here in the morning, we do our warm-ups.
William.
Shakespeare.
And then after, that's when we go upstairs and do the acting.
She is practicing, she's the understudy, and you're observing like the audience, so you...
They are practicing theater skills, presentation skills, reading comprehension, decoding language.
Daughter of Duke Sr.
Duke Sr.
The work of Enchanted Circle Theater is all about engaging, active learning. We use theater as a way of hooking students in.
Enchanted Circle is a wonderful opportunity for our English language learners to develop their second language skills in English. It has a lot of components in literacy, vocabulary, there's a lot of oral fluency.
Holyoke is a small city with big city problems. According to police, they deal with violent crime and drug trafficking. They also have struggled with academic achievement, so much so that the state took over the school system last spring.
80% of Holyoke students are considered low income. We lag significantly behind every other district in third grade reading proficiency, in high school graduation. We struggle with attendance. We struggle with student behavior.
Assistant School Superintendent Paul Hyrie-Dermuth says the Shakespeare program, now in its 8th year, helps students succeed because it captures their interest.
As students feel that sense of confidence and ownership, it can help with regulating behaviors and with just, I think, a greater sense of engagement with learning in the classroom.
Raise your hand.
He also says it helps combat the summer slide.
The Shakespeare program provides students with incredible enrichment and extension opportunity for their learning. It just is a bridge for students to not be backsliding during the summer.
Students like 14-year-old Letitia, who has struggled with grades and behavior.
I'm gonna be honest, I have a lot of anger problems. Like I start like getting mad and just doing things I shouldn't do.
This is her second year in the Acting Shakespeare program. She had a really tough year last year. She would disrupt the class. She had a really challenging time staying on task.
Come on, you're in the scene with me. When I started trying it, I was like, it's something I could do. And the more I tried it, I was like, I'm like in love with it.
Acting is a big thing for Letitia, so this program is excellent for her.
This necklace is one of the last things you have left.
And I gave it to him.
Yeah.
To have Letitia, who's already been in the program and was one of those students, to say, please try this, give it a shot. She's actually a motivator now for other students.
Like Freddie, a 7th grader who prefers sports over Shakespeare.
We're staying here all day?
No, just for another hour.
What? Oh my God!
He went from that to this.
Running for the bear hug. Turn, remember your turn, and then you do that.
Oh!
Look out at the audience. And relax.
At the beginning of the summer, Jessica thought Shakespeare just wasn't her style.
I really don't think I want to go on stage because I'm that scared.
You have to go on stage. It's a play.
I have an understudy.
But the 13-year-old who lacked confidence started to shine.
Again, with a cruel attitude.
Oh, for shame. You say mine eyes are murderers. Mine eyes hurt thee not. Silvius, I am sure.
And after 5 weeks of rehearsing lines, dissecting the script, writing, and bonding,
1, 2, 3.
It's showtime.
The first performance was at the Center for Renaissance Studies at UMass. The bus got lost. They arrived late.
Are you ready?
They were excited to put on their costumes, to be in a new place, to be outdoors on a beautiful stage that was in a gorgeous meadow.
Welcome to the play As You Like It by William Shakespeare. In the first scene, we are in the royal court.
It's kind of scary because there's actual people watching us.
Yeah, it's not just chairs this time.
Come, sweet Audrey. We must be married, or we must live in Baudry.
This group of strangers became friends, shy students who started to soak up the spotlight, even Jessica, who vowed never to take the stage.
There's an entire set of intangibles that Enchanted Circle brings to the table for kids that helps with confidence, helps with motivation, helps with commitment to stay in school, helps kids feel that these are the kinds of experiences that they want in their lives.
It was hard memorizing it, very hard. It took a lot of practice and, well, we did it. Pray you no more of this. 'Tis like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon.
If I can be in a teaching role and I can help students find a different part of themselves that they didn't know existed, that is going to really just make me happy.
I prithee, now tell me who it is. Seeing myself how good I can be this person if I want. I can be such a person, actor, anything. And all that bad stuff was like, it's not worth it anymore.
Hey, love is only folly. Hey, woo!
Performing something like As You Like It is one way to build self-esteem and self-confidence in a struggling young student. Back in New York City's Lower East Side, building those qualities in less advantaged children is also the central mission of a group which serves some 600 students in 30 different elementary and middle schools. It's called the GO Project.
The New York City public school system is currently educating about 1.1 million school children, and only about 65% of our students are graduating on time each year. We know that every student deserves a quality education, and many of our public schools are struggling to provide that for our students. GO serves the students that really have the greatest need. Students that are typically 1 to 2 years below grade level than their peers. Many of our students are coming to us facing multiple barriers, poverty, many of them have learning disabilities. So we really want to focus on not only the child, but working with the family as well, so that we're bringing both the child and the family up at the same time. Students attend a Saturday academic program, and then over the summer, they're attending our full 5-week program.
I first came to the Go Project in 3rd grade because I was having problems with reading and writing in English. It was difficult in my weekday school because there were 32 kids in each class, and a teacher can only pay attention to one student for so much time.
Before the Go Project, it was like a hard time. Sometimes I feel like I have no answers, but the Go Project is there and calling me, helping me with the paperwork. I start to feel like everything was going to be much easier for my son.
Peel. Popcorn. Yes.
In my school, I was unfocused all around the place. I was scrabble. But Go Project helped me by showing me if I do my best and one thing I can achieve it.
And then on Friday.
Every single teacher here really does care about the students. We wouldn't wake up on a Saturday morning to come and do something that we didn't love.
I've come back to help tutor other kids and teach them the importance of helping each other and just giving back.
Together we can go further.
We can go further.
We can go further.
We can go further. That's certainly another theme that we've been promoting all day long. It's now my pleasure to announce that the number of American Graduate Champions that we have identified so far today from the groups that we have already had on the program, after only 3 hours on the air, we have recognized 2,516,539 American Graduate Champions. That's also almost as many as we honored during last year's entire broadcast. On that high note, we are now going back to Lauren Wonko, who has the We Are the Girl Scouts robotics team. By the way, the Girl Scouts contributed over 800,000 American Graduate Champions to that number. Really remarkable numbers, Lauren. Over to you.
Absolutely is. Nikita Nangia is with us, team captain of WAGS. Tell us a little bit more about WAGS.
Thank you so much for having us here. WAGS is an all-Girl Scout robotics team from New Jersey. Our team has 15 girls, and we compete in the first tech challenge level of FIRST Robotics.
There is a very special guest that is joining us right now. Tell us a little bit about your robot.
So this is Robo Rover, our World Championship robot, and with him is our drive team, Sanjana and Caroline.
What's going on right now?
So right now, the robot is preloaded with 4 balls.
That's impressive. Congratulations, girls. Good job.
And he has just scored in the rolling goal. So during competition, this is what we have to do. We pick up the pieces and we score them.
So you're instructed in advance what this robot needs to accomplish. Is that right?
Yes. So in September, when the game starts, we are told what different tasks need to be done and how many points they're worth. And throughout the season, we build a robot to accomplish those tasks.
What's it like to build a robot?
It's really amazing to see the designs that we draw at the beginning of the season become a reality and see how effective they can be in accomplishing the goals.
What's the biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge for us is starting off when you have these big ideas and you don't really know what direction to head in. So being able to really come up with something concrete and really start working on it is probably one of the most challenging things in the season.
And for you, I can imagine this is more than just science and math and engineering.
So the thing about robotics is it's more than just building the robot. It's about building the team and working together with other people. Even in competitions, it's not just our team. We work with other teams. So the ability to work together and collaborate, it's really big.
When's your next big challenge?
So our game was actually announced earlier this month. So we are starting to design and draw pictures and get started with robots.
Excellent. Well, you know, you have a front row seat to a rock concert here. So Little Kids Rock, I think it's time for you to hit it.
American Graduate Day continues. I'm Jane Pauling. Students from low-income communities are 3 times more likely to be chronically absent due to illness. Simply put, if basic health standards aren't met, students can't achieve, students can't graduate. The Children's Health Fund provides critical pediatric medical services to underserved communities. increasing both school attendance and academic performance. That mission is so near to my heart, I serve on their board. I've known our next guest for more than 20 years. Dr. Erwin Redlener, the co-founder and president of the Children's Health Fund. Doctor, explain the inspiration for the Children's Health Fund many, many years ago.
Well, it was an interesting story, actually. So it was back in 1986. I had an opportunity to show Paul Simon, the singer-songwriter, legendary New Yorker, a very grim part of our city, and that was the welfare hotels and shelters that were stood up to accommodate the many, many homeless families and children who were suddenly appearing in the late 80s in New York City. And even though myself, having spent the majority of my career dealing with poor children in isolated environments, I actually was staggered by what we saw in the middle of Manhattan, this thriving, bustling economic world center, these children living in unbelievable squalor. And they weren't going to school regularly, they weren't getting enough to eat, and they weren't getting access to health care.
And you created these mobile medical units, basically a doctor's office on wheels, in which you took 2 kids. There are now 50 mobile medical centers serving almost 400 communities. How did primary health care begin to intersect with education?
Health and education have actually always been part and parcel of the same goal, which is to raise successful children. The whole idea is to have kids grow up healthy and educated and be able to enter adulthood as fulfilled human beings, ready to take on their responsibilities, to raise their own families, to be productive citizens, and so forth. And to get to that point, if you think about it, what kids need is they need a good education, but they also need to be healthy enough so that they can learn properly, so their brains are growing appropriately, so that they've had the nourishment, nutrition that they need, and that they don't have the kinds of health problems that can literally interfere with their ability to be successful children. So this is really, it's come to the point where we now are being very explicit about this. We're saying, you know, really, if we want kids to be successful in school, they can't be sitting around in classrooms not able to see the blackboard, or having asthma that's keeping them up all night coughing, and the other things that we're identifying and calling actually health barriers to learning.
Kids in poor communities are exposed to all kinds of stresses. We're not talking about the stress to get, you know, into Harvard. We're talking about the stress of a violent neighborhood.
These are daily chronic stressors that have to do with everything from actually having to walk to school through what's basically a danger zone in terms of crime and issues in the neighborhood and so forth. And the new research has shown, which is what's so important here, is that chronic stress, in fact, it's called toxic stress, can have an impact on the physical health as well as the mental health of children. And in fact, those physical health impacts can actually last to adulthood.
Well, this is a time of, this is the season where we're talking about the big problems. There are too many to count, men and women who would aspire to be president. If you could talk to them, say something to those presidential aspirants about kids and health and education, what would it be?
I'm asking you to think about investing in children and their future. And it's part compassion, it's the right thing to do. It's part a fairness issue that some kids have and some kids don't have. But the other element that's entered the equation now is the fact that if we don't pay attention to these children, their health issues, their education, in 20, 30 years from now, the United States is going to be a very different place, and we can't afford to be there. We're going to be competing for influence and the economy globally. We want every kid to grow up to be a successful adult. It's a principal investment that the country needs to make.
Because the alternative to being a successful adult is being an unsuccessful adult.
Unsuccessful adult requiring a whole lot of remediation or worse. And if the presidential candidates can't articulate how they're going to deal with this, I think we need to move on to the next candidate.
All right. Dr. Erwin Redlener, co-founder of Children's Health Fund and president, thank you for a lifetime commitment.
Thank you, Jane.
The Children's Health Fund has played such an important role in underserved communities for over 30 years. Of course, we all hope there will come a day when they're no longer needed, because every child in every neighborhood deserves a doctor. Stay with us, so much more to come on American Graduate Day.
American Graduate Day is a live, nationwide outreach event